Hello everybody, I am Tom and you are watching, well, not really me play The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, but I'm going to go through the mods that I have and sort of go in depth into what they are and how they work. Sounds like a wolf down there, but I'm pretty sure that's there's a dude who found us when we reached Skellige and he had a pet wolf. I'm pretty sure that's his. First things first is AutoLoot. And this one you can notice, if you look at the bottom left of my screen now, I can loot this barbicane root just by hitting E, and it immediately goes into my inventory. Without this mod installed, it brings up a little window, which if you have the game you'll be able to see. A little window in the middle of your screen, you then have to say, yes, I want to loot this. Which for looting herbs and things takes a very long time. But this isn't all that this mod does, and there is a lot that it can do. For starters, this mod has a mod configuration menu, which is really cool. You go into Options, Mods, and then it's just here in this configuration menu. AutoLoot. So you can load a preset, and then we can go to Settings and see what we've got. So 1, turn the mod on and off. Fairly simple. This uses filters, so you can set item filters down here. We'll talk about them later. But if you have it off, it will just loot everything and you don't have to worry about it. But you can turn this on so it only loots certain things, and it will avoid looting other things. This is, again, matching in with the filters. You can change it so that you can match all of the filters you have, or match any of the filters you have. It's a small distinction, but it makes a bit more sense when you look at the filters. No accidental stealing. This will make it so that if there is a crate that normally you couldn't take stuff out of because it'll say, hey, the guard's watching you, you can't take out of here, that would be stealing. It just won't loot from them. You don't have to worry about it. And this isn't so much of an issue unless you have radius looting on. It kind of is too, because if you try and open a crate or something, or a chest, and then it says there are guards watching or whatever, it won't automatically loot it, so you get the guards angry at you. This will just disable the stealing mechanic, which means the guards will never care. So you can just, if you want to take everything, you just turn this on, turn this off, and then won't be an issue. I've got this turned on. This is loot enemies when killed. You'll notice whenever I kill an enemy, I don't have to go find their corpse on the ground and pick up all the crap on them. It'll just automatically chucked into my inventory, because there's pretty much never where I'm going to kill something and not want to take its loot. So this is pretty much always good. This by default is off. This is for quote-unquote quest items. Again, particularly for auto loot, for the radius looting is what this is for. But it won't automatically give you all the stuff out of a quest container. And this just resets the settings. Yep, that's fine. This here is the filters. You can have plants only, corpses only, one item only. And this is default. This is the default tab where you can change how you want. So this is herb filter. Checks if the container is a plant. If so, it'll auto loot. Corpse, same thing. This does amount of things I think that you're looting. I haven't actually played around with this, but I believe it's like the idea being it won't pick up like 15 pieces of bread if someone's got that on them or whatever, or in a chest or something like that. And this, I believe, is it sees how much is in your inventory, and if you've got a certain amount, it won't exceed that amount. So if you have 500, I don't know, let's say you've got 500 pieces of bread, to continue my analogy from before, then it'll say, and you say, I only want 500 bits of bread. Every time you loot something, if there's a piece of bread there, it'll just leave it behind. And if you go down to 499 pieces of bread, and then you loot something that's got bread, it will take one, if it can, and just fill up to that point. This is the item filters. Default, useful gear. It'll grab armors, weapons, upgrades, and make sure that junk doesn't come. Weightless items, nothing. Crafting items, picks up formula, picks up ingredient filters. I prefer default because I don't have any of these filters turned on anyway, so it's irrelevant. But you can filter how you like, so that you can pick up some things and don't pick up others. Now, radius looting. What this does is it sets it up so that there is, as one might expect, a radius surrounding the player, and anything within that radius will be looted. You can have this turned on such that it works here for true auto loot mode, is where you can turn this on. Yeah, that's fine. Search frequency is 5 seconds. Let's chuck down to 2 seconds. 30. 20. Sure. Fine. I'll actually push this up to 5 seconds if I'm putting that large of a distance. This is for notifications for everything, so enable loot notifications, blah blah blah. This is all just standard. I've got this on longer, such that if you get a big list of things, you can actually read what you've... Because by default, I think this is down, like, here, or something. Which, you don't... If there's, like, 5 things, you don't have enough time to read what's there. 150 is pretty good, I found. Can I type this in here? Oh, yeah. Arrow buttons will just change these for you if you want to go up and down, just 1 or 2. Notification font size, that's how big that little thing down the bottom is. In any case, so I've got True AutoLoot turned on, and you'll see if I go back out again. True AutoLoot is now enabled. And you notice all of these plants that I'm now grabbing. Looking down at the bottom left, you'll notice it happening as I'm walking around. I've got the radius set to enormous. It's 30 meters around me currently. So just running around, I will loot all sorts of stuff. You can also set this up to a hotkey, but I couldn't get it working for one reason or another. I'm not entirely sure why. So that it's not constantly running, you can just push a button, it'll loot everything in an area for you. It's interesting, I'm not entirely sure how it works, but for whatever reason I couldn't get it working on this game. It's possible just because this is the 1.31a version of the game, as opposed to 1.31, which is what the mod is made for, I believe. In any case, if I go back to options, mods, AutoLoot. I don't actually like having this on because it just loots too much stuff, but it's useful for flowers. Just being able to loot all the flowers around you is quite good. You can turn this to being allowed in combat, so it'll just loot everything even when you're fighting. I've turned it off. Yep, that's fine. I'm going to turn that down to about 10 meters, because that's kind of more what one would expect. And this here is the same as True Auto Loot. Distance of loot and this. I believe it's the same. But it should also give you, if I go into control settings. No. Key bindings. Here you go. Activate auto loot radius and toggle auto loot radius. This will just turn these on. You can set these to hotkeys, but I never got them to work for some reason. It would reset them to none whenever it wasn't in, and the hotkeys I set would never work, so I don't know. If someone knows how to fix that, someone tell me. But I couldn't get it working on 1.31a of the GOG version of this game, so not entirely sure. But for the next couple of ones I have on, the first one is very, very simple. You see here that this requires level 62 to wear. This Ophiri scale armor does not usually take level 62 to wear. The reason it does is because I'm level 62. And what I've got this set on is all Witcher gear and all unique gear that you get from the DLCs. This armor is from the first DLC, the Hearts of Stone, will scale with your level. Which means that you don't, for the Witcher gear for instance, you don't need to... I don't actually have any Witcher gear on me. You see with regular pieces of armor, they still keep their level. Requires 57. Requires level 1. Requires level 55. Etc, etc, etc. However, any unique gear that you get in the DLC areas, or unique armor that is added by the DLCs, or Witcher armor, all of it will scale with you, so you don't need to redo the scavenger hunts. I'm still probably going to redo the scavenger hunts just for completionist sake, and because I'm wanting this to be more of a walkthrough type thing. So if people need to know how to do the scavenger hunts, I want them on the way through so people can look them up if necessary. But because I wanted to do Skellige first, it made more sense for me to have this mod on so I could actually do the content in Skellige. Speaking of which, this also goes into my next my next mod and final mod, which is again a fairly simple mod. All it does is it takes away the scaling of quest experience. So ordinarily, these quests. I'll see if... I don't think I've got any that are low enough level that... No, I don't. But there are 4 levels to quests. There are white levels, which means they're about your level and you should be doing them. There's yellow ones where it's like... They're a bit harder. They're just about outside your range, but you can still probably do them without much trouble. And there's red quests, which ordinarily, you see this little skull they've got here underneath the top middle. They've got a little skull underneath next to the suggested level. It means that chances are you'll die if you try this. Now, in New Game Plus, you've got more flexibility because you've got so much stuff, which is why I'm doing these without worrying too much about level. Unless it's hugely outside my level range, I'm not really worrying about it. But usually the way this works is that you'll get a certain amount of experience for a quest. So, let's say, contract, doors slamming shut. You do this quest, you get, say, 1,000 experience. I don't know if that's actually what you get, but I'm not there. If you do this before you reach level 80, you'll get 1,000 experience. If you do this at level 80, you'll get 1,000 experience. If you do this up to level 87, you'll get 1,000 experience. If, however, I was level 88, I did this quest, it would not be red, it would be grey. This is white. This is red. There's one level under. I'm not quite high enough level for any of the quests to be this level, but if you're 7 levels above a quest, it turns grey. And if it turns grey, that means you get reduced experience for that quest. Ordinarily, that's fine. It just means that you finish the game about level 50. It's pretty much what that means in the base game. However, if you want to sequence break the game, Skellige is supposed to be started around about level 15. So what I've just done now at level essentially 6, because I started at what? I started at level 56. I'm now level 62. So if I was playing a base game, I would be level 6. Ordinarily, the experience works out pretty much fine, because you tend to do the things in the level range that you're supposed to be able to do them in anyway. What this mod allows for is sequence breaking such that if I do all this stuff in Skellige, when I go back to Novigrad, all the quests are going to be grey quests, so I'll get no experience for them. Which means by the time I get to the end of the game, I probably won't be at an appropriate level. With this mod, it's made it such that I get full experience no matter what level I am, so I will level up as per normal, as if I was playing the game in an ordinary order. But that's it. Nothing else as far as mods go, it's just those 3. And they're all pretty simple mods. AutoLoot is by far the most complex. But again, not particularly complex, it just takes out a few UI elements and makes things a bit more streamlined. But that's about it. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions about any of the mods, put them down below. And as always, I always link all the mods in the description, so if you want to find any, you can find them in the Nexus down below. I use Vortex to load all my mods, so if anyone has any questions about that. Also, it can be found on the Nexus. It's fairly self-explanatory to use. If anyone wants to know more specifically how to use it, ask and I'll make a video on it, but it's not difficult. You can set it up as a mod loading system and you just load your mods into it, and it kind of does the rest. Particularly if you're only doing light modding, like I'm doing, it's not even an issue. Like, you're not even going to have mod conflicts or anything like that. If you're using like 1,000 mods, you got to worry about your load order and things, but you should be fine. In any case, that's it from me today. Thanks for watching, and I shall see you next time.